Hey, this is Marshall. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about Djembe, some basic techniques to kind of get you started. I think there's more of this on YouTube, so you can probably find plenty of people who have been playing longer than I have to give advice. I'm just going to point out some things that I've seen people do, some things I used to do that were corrected. I always recommend having the drum lean away from you when you play. This more closely simulates traditional djembe playing where you wore the drum. Some djembes that are manufactured today, you can wear them. Mine, personally, the rope is not long enough to wear. So what I do is I run the rope, seen here, on my throne when I play, and that's able to keep a little bit of tension on there, so if I let go, it won't fall down, because it is always leaning away from you. I tend to prop the front of it with my feet just a little bit, or I hold it, I pinch it just a little bit between my knees, not too much, because you want to be comfortable, and you don't want to, expend any extra energy trying to hold it in place. It can move around a little bit, and that should be all right. You won't run into too many problems with that. I don't think so. I don't expect. I haven't. But you do want it leaning away from you a little bit, and as you can see, I can let go of it some, and it's not going to fall down. It'll come close, but it won't. So nothing you can't correct while you're playing. So sitting on the rope, for me, where my rope is positioned, that makes the most sense. But if you can wear one, that works too. I started playing with it leaning towards me, and initially that was very comfortable. That was more what I was used to with my tom-toms. But it's hard to get the right form with your hands and your wrists to be able to impact the djembe correctly, or at least the way I was taught to be correct. So leaning away is going to give you a better angle for hitting. It's going to be better on your wrists, and you can have a little more control of the impact with your fingers and whatnot. What else? You don't want it to be flat on the ground. I've seen some people play it flat, which completely chokes the notes when you try to play, especially the bass tone. It's always just kind of muted. Whereas if you have it tilted away, that you have a little bit of a gap at the bottom, then it can ring out. So if you want to mute it, I would recommend muting it with your hand, and I'll get to that in a later video. So the way I was taught for traditional djembe is that there's 6 basic tones, basically 3 ways to hit, and with either hand, so 3 times 2 is 6. The basics would be the bass tones, the slap tones, and a kind of combination where you kind of whip your wrist a little bit in the center. So those are the 6 traditional tones that I was taught in traditional djembe. That served as a good basis for me. I spent a lot of time practicing those, and that allowed me to get comfortable with the djembe, get comfortable with my form, and then learn to kind of expound on that. Another thing I was taught real early on was to, when you hit with your slap tones, you want to hit using the meat of your fingers. For a while I was hitting right at my joints, and that'll make you sore a little bit when you end up having your bones knock against the rim. If you can, you want to use the meatier part of your finger. That won't wear you out quite so badly. It'll be better for your joints. And generally, it sounds better, in the minute difference. It's more, you hear more of the drum and less of your hand. So that was good advice that was given to me when I was in college by my drum teacher. Great guy. Greg Strauss. If you're in Central Kentucky and you need a good drum teacher, Greg Strauss, he's the way to go. Great guy. Excellent player, excellent teacher. Taught me a lot, both with djembe and drum set and timpani, the whole 9 yards. He'll teach you anything. He's great. Xylophone. Anyways, so djembe, those are sort of the basics. You want the drum leaning away from you. You want to hit with the meat of your fingers, and yeah, those are the basics. That's what you need to know. 6 basic hits. And that's a great starting place for you. From there, we'll move on to a little bit different technique.